Well, it is a brisk one this morning. Woke up, I think it was like 28 degrees. We're coming to the tail end of October, and in this video I want to talk about how to use side imaging, side view, to find these spots for late fall crappie. Getting into November here, crappie are going to do a couple different things. I'm going to show you side view, just basic settings, kind of how I got my side view set up, and then also spots on rivers, reservoirs, and lakes to kind of look for them, what fish look like on brush piles. I got a rock pile here behind me that I'm going to show you, kind of see how fish are set up. Just got a couple questions recently on Facebook Messenger, and they sent screenshots asking, are these some fish on brush piles? So I figured I'd come out here this morning and hopefully get you some pretty good images in terms of how fish look differently on rock piles, brush piles. I don't think we got any weed lines today that I'm going to look at, but hopefully between brush piles and rock piles, you're going to be able to use whatever unit you have and be able to identify crappie this time of year. It is super cold this morning. Okay, we're going to come up on this rock pile here. The rock pile is going to go, I believe we're going to come up on the left side of it. Oh, we went right over the top. Shoot. Anyway, if you notice off to the way right, there's some timber. You can see the logs laying down, and there are a few fish. You can see the shadows. Those are bigger fish. But these crappie, they're going to school up like that. We actually drove right over the top of them. I didn't want to do that, but those crappie right there, just suspended above the rock pile. I'm going to circle back. I'm trying to get them further off onto the left or the right of the side imaging here. The two things that you're looking at when you're trying to identify fish on a piece of cover or anything really, there's usually the bright spot of the fish itself, but also the shadow of the fish. So off to my right is the rock pile. Now, this is kind of the steeper side of the rock pile. You can see there's some bigger shadows, but on the, I guess this would be the downstream side of it, I'm on a river system here, you can see there are bright spots, and then you can see the shadows. Now some of these are bigger fish, but you can see a bunch of bright spots packed together right there. Those are most likely some crappie and bluegill. As we get out further into like single rock areas where there's only one or two boulders, there's some bright spots. They look like grains of rice right there. Those are probably going to be our smallmouth bass, walleye, catfish, some other species right now. There's a ton of different species in this river. Yep, here we go. Now, you can see there are some fish right tucked in tight to the rocks. I think because I've gone over it a couple times, those crappie and bluegill probably pushed really tight to it. Might have scared them a little bit. But those bright little grains of rice, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And then the shadows, you can definitely see all the shadows. It's harder to see the actual bright spots, but you can definitely tell there's a bunch of shadows there. There's a big school of something. Those actually look a little big to be crappie. They're probably a bunch of rough fish, but there are some still bright spots right on the edge of the rocks there. Let's talk about settings real quick. I open up my options menu. Typically this time of year, on a lot of our lakes and river systems, we actually get pretty clear water unless we have a ton of rain. This year we haven't really had much rain through most of October. So because it's the clear water, there's really not a ton of sediment in there. I can turn down my contrast. I typically run it, this is actually pretty low. Typically I run it like 45 to 50 range. But again, it's been so clear you can kind of get away with running a really low contrast and still be able to see a ton of fish. Brightness, this is kind of like your sensitivity, your gain on different units. I typically run the auto low function. You can see it's bouncing between 80 to 85% on the sensitivity level. Frequency, I always run the Ultra HD, your megahertz frequency when it comes to side view. When it comes to frequency, the best way I've heard this explained is the higher you go up in frequency, it's like you're taking more pictures of a given area of water. The beam angle, and I know this is not like the cone angle when it comes to 2D sonar, but the beam angle itself, if my face is the boat, the 455 is almost straight across. As you get down to as you go up in frequency, that beam kind of shrinks down a little bit. You're not viewing as much of the water area or the water column. It's not that big of a difference, but it will help with gaining the best picture. That's the way I've heard this explained was by going up in frequency, it's like you're taking more pictures of a given unit of water, which is why your image is a lot crisper typically when you're running higher frequency. Now, if you, for whatever reason, can't get a good image, typically there are two main reasons for that. The first is your transducer is not mounted level to how the boat sits in the water. Or it's mounted in a spot where there's a bunch of interference between the propeller or there's some other electrical interference. Then there's the electrical side. You got to have a clean battery connection to your unit. I would highly recommend running a second battery, even if it's just a smaller lead acid battery, to your unit, whatever screen that you got. When you have electrical directly to the starting battery, typically what will happen is electrical interference could cause image distortion. So if you want to get a really crisp, clear picture, I would highly recommend a second battery running to your unit. It doesn't need to be a lithium, just even a small lead acid battery will work. There are a couple different functions here. Typically with the range, I always run 70 feet left and right. When it comes to range, you'll notice there's the black area. Now the black area is your down view mode. If I go to sonar, so your clear view mode, that black area on your side view screen, that's basically what you're seeing here. Now if I go back to my side view here, so the black area is my clear view. When you get to the gold area, I run this gold color palette because it works for me. You can change different color palettes. We'll talk about that in a second. But that gold area, that's where you start seeing the river bottom or the lake bottom. That's really where you're seeing left and right of the boat. So I got this set at 70 feet left and right, but I'm really only looking 20, so I'm in 20 feet of water, 15 feet of water, so I'm really only looking from 15 feet to 70. I'm not looking a full 70 feet left and right. You basically take your range minus your depth. That's truly what you're viewing left and right. So when it comes to the actual side view setups, you get in depth. Scroll speed, I got a little high right now. Typically I run it on default. Sometimes you can run it a little faster. That might give you a little bit better image, or it just might be better for your eyes to pick up as stuff's moving across the screen. Typically I run any type of rejection setting on low or off. The appearance, the color scheme, I run this orange crawfish pattern. I ran hummingbirds way back, and this is kind of very similar to that gold pattern that hummingbird has, so my eyes were used to it. And as you can see here, we're coming across this rock pile. There are some fish in the shadows. There's a ton of fish in those shadows. They look like grains of rice. That's what kind of we're looking for. There's a ton of them in there. But let's finish up the settings here. So I'm running this orange crawfish color scheme. There's a bunch of different schemes you can run. Whatever best suits your eyes to be able to pick up, fish, rocks, brush piles. There's a bunch of different ones you can pick from here. I typically run that orange crawfish. When it comes to, there's a bunch of different other things. So the depth lines, so this range line setting, again, when it comes to side view, you're taking your total range, which on the bottom of the screen here says 70 feet left and right, minus my depth. That's truly what I'm actually viewing left and right. But you can run those lines. I typically don't. For the most part, I run default settings other than kind of bumping down the contrast. It's really nothing special. The unit that you're viewing right now is the GPS map 8610. It has a higher pixel rating than a lot of the Garmin units, so my unit might seem a little bit clearer than some of your EchoMap units, and that's only because this specific model has a higher screen resolution. So don't be discouraged if you're viewing this and you're not getting quite the same image on one of your EchoMap 93SVs or your EchoMap 106s. Just the screen resolution on this specific unit is just a little bit better than the EchoMap versions. So we took a look at that rock pile with a few different angles. Kind of showed you what crappie suspended over a rock pile will probably look like. Next I want to talk about stumps specifically. Brush piles are probably a little bit easier to pick out fish. Stumps can be a little tricky depending on the angle that you're going over them or next to them. I found a stump up here that has a few fish. It's in deeper water. One thing I would note, this time of year, if you're finding fish in like 30 plus feet of water, just understand if you're gonna catch those fish, put them in your live well, most likely they're not gonna survive because of barotrauma, but that's just an ethical note. It's still cold out. So we're coming up here, there is a stump right there on our left. Now, I guess I drove kind of over the top of it, but there's actually the log, but then there's the stump, and it's like the shadow of the stump. And it's really tough to see. Let's pause it here. So there is a fish kind of on the edge of the log there. You can see that suspended. But then in the shadow of the stump, let's see how far I can zoom in here. There's two bright spots. Like if this is the stump, there's two bright spots on the top of it. I'm pretty sure those are crappie. So I'm gonna circle back around here. We'll get a different angle at it here, but I'm almost positive those are crappie. We'll circle back around and I'm gonna try to catch these fish. And because we're in like 30 feet of water, I am gonna keep them if I do catch them. Typically on the river, I've been catching some pretty good sized fish, 11, 12, 13 inch crappie. So it's not like I'm gonna be catching 6 inchers. But we'll circle back around and hopefully get a different angle of this stump. Maybe there's more crappie that we just didn't see that might have been in the shadow of that stump. One thing I should note about side view, because the beam's going to the left and to the right, if you got a stump or a rock, that beam's gonna hit it. Anything behind that, if you think about shining a flashlight, that light doesn't see the other side of it. So there's chances where you go by an object like a stump or a rock pile or a brush pile, and there might be fish on a specific side of that brush pile or that stump that you just can't see because the side view beam can't actually view the other side of that thing. So circling back at different angles is definitely going to help you kind of get a better image, or at least a clearer picture of what's actually on that stump, or that rock pile. All right, looks like I went right over the top of it again. But okay, there's the tree, and then there's a stump just to the outside edge of it. Actually, it might be the root of the tree that I was looking at. This is why going across different angles can definitely help. You can see there are fish suspended right over the top of that tree. And oh, you know what? It was the root of the tree that I was looking at. I thought it was a separate stump. That's why you try different angles, but there are definitely fish on it. So let's circle back around and see if we can catch some of these crappie. All right, so one last piece of cover that I wanted to show you is kind of a shallower brush pile and kind of what these fish look like suspended over a shallow brush pile. So it's going to come up on the right side of the screen here. And typically in these shallower brush piles, these fish could be almost right at the surface. They could be deep down in the brush pile. So hopefully there's a couple examples in here that I can show you of how these fish kind of set up in and around a brush pile, and kind of you can pick them up on side imaging here. There's a ton of fish throughout here, but a lot of them are probably junk fish, unfortunately. When I just say junk fish, I mean like carp and sheephead. And God, there's a pile of them, and I think that you can see there is a, zoom in here. I mean, there's so many fish on the dang thing. So there's a tree laying down there. There's a ton of fish on that tree. But if you notice here, there's a brush pile right there and a big old tree. And you can see there's some bigger fish suspended above it. But you can see, if I zoom in, there are fish even below that, the trunk of that tree through there. I'm gonna turn around and try to fish this. There's a ton of fish on there. Let's zoom out. Gosh, look at all that. All right, let's turn around and fish this thing, because that was a ton of fish. Now, if I scroll back here, you might notice there's like a bend in the image right here. That's because when you start turning sharply, that side imaging, your transducer sending signals at different angles, so you start to get a little bend shape. So there's one last, it's not really a piece of cover, but one last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to side imaging in the late fall for crappie, and that is on our natural lakes up north. Our glacial lakes oftentimes have what's called the hard soft bottom transition, where it's like sand or gravel coming from the shoreline that gets into deeper water. Typically like 20 to 25 feet of water is where this transition happens on our lakes up north. And then it transitions into this mud, muck, or silt. Wherever that line is, typically there's a lot of invertebrate, and so you'll see big schools of crappie kind of congregate in this area as they feed up on the bait fish that might be there, but also the bugs and the larvae that are there. And this is kind of what they look like, or this section of water that it looks like. Side view, down view, you can see this pretty clearly on our lakes up north. Typically, you're going to see some bigger schools towards the middle part of November, going into ice fishing season. And you might see it on your river system or your reservoir system, but it's mostly, in my experience, this mostly happens on our natural lakes up north. So when it comes to rivers and reservoir systems, really you're just looking anywhere there's a little bit slower current, some sort of backwater area, and also any feeder creeks on your reservoir systems. Typically the drop-offs of the creek, not the creek channel itself, but kind of on the drop-off. You're looking for any type of timber, brush pile, rocks, anything like that. That's typically what's going to hold crappie this time of year on the reservoir systems. Also, docks are going to hold those fish, possibly some shallow brush piles, just like the one I just found there. Can hold some really nice crappie. If you got a unit with side view, be sure to use some of these techniques. Find these locations on your local body of water. Hopefully you're catching a ton of fish. If you don't have a unit with side view, be sure to check out the links in the video description. I'll link some budget-minded side view options and then some premium side view options like this Garmin 8610 I have here. So appreciate you watching. Good luck on the water this fall. Hopefully find and catch a ton of fish.